Steve Higgins, and this is my holiday book bag for 2020, summer 2020. Doing a little bit of a different setup here. I've got camera 1, camera 2 and camera 3. So hopefully anything goes wrong, I can just make a quick cut and everything's going to go along smoothly. Anyway, this is my very first book. It's by Barbara Windsor. It's called All of Me, Barbara's autobiography. It says on the front it's a whopping no-holds-barred roller coaster of a book. I'm going to say it's a great read. It's one of them reads that just tumbles along almost as if Barbara has just read, dictated the book to somebody. A fabulous read. It tells her about her career in the Carry On films, and also later on in life she was a member of the EastEnders cast. I don't know if you watch EastEnders, I personally never do, but she was in that for a long time. She had a number of husbands, one of which was a guy called Ronnie Knight, who was an East End gangster. She tells a story how one day the police burst in through the back door and carted Ronnie away for armed robbery. She of course probably knew nothing about it, but one of the big problems with her and Ronnie was that neither of them were interested in what the other one was doing. Maybe why the marriage failed, I don't know. Like I say, it's a great read, very interesting. Not a lot about the Carry On films, which was similar to the book I read a while ago, Kenneth Williams's Diaries, and I didn't realise for both Kenneth and Barbara they're both very into their stage careers, which us who don't go to the theatre much or just follow these kind of stars from television and film, we think they're doing nothing, but in actual fact Barbara had a one-woman show. She was in various stage musicals, had a great stage career. Heard on the news lately that she's suffering from dementia, which is very sad, and it's glad that she's got a guy looking after her, Scott Mitchell, young husband, and it's nice to see she's found a bit of romance in her later years. Anyway, if you see that in the bookshop, it's a cracking little read. Moving on to this book, Dan Brown, The Lost Symbol. This is one of those books, I think it's a sequel to the Da Vinci Code, not a direct sequel. I think it's third in the series of Robert Langdon books. Robert Langdon is a symbologist, whatever a symbologist is. I don't even think that word really exists, but he has to solve various esoteric clues and puzzles. In this particular one, the book is set in Washington DC, capital of the United States. Now, you wouldn't think there's a lot of history in the United States. It's a relatively young country. In actual fact, there's a lot of things that he brings up that are quite interesting about the Capitol building in America, and it's a great book. It's not quite as good as the Da Vinci Code. The Da Vinci Code, personally, I couldn't put it down. I thought it was a fabulous read. You hear a lot of people criticising it, but it is a great book if you get the chance to read it. This one is not quite as exciting, but it does have quite an interesting method of getting to a little bit of a climax, then cutting away to something else, keeping you in suspense. So a lovely read. I enjoyed it, and some quite interesting facts and figures to learn from present day United States. Book number 3 is this one. It's The Empire of the Summer Moon. It's the story of, I think it's pronounced Quanah Parker, and the rise and fall of the Comanche tribe. Not only is it about the Comanches, it's also about the Parker family, a family of settlers in the West. And the Comanches had a habit of attacking not only other Indian tribes, but of course the settlers, raping and pillaging, murdering and torturing. And what they used to do to the younger members of the settlers' families is adopt them into their tribe. And they adopted a young lady called Cynthia Ann Parker, who became part of the tribe. And she had a son, and it's this guy, Quanah Parker. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Parker went on to become the chief of the Comanche tribe, and it's just an incredible tale of the Old West and really how the repeating rifle destroyed the Indians, because the Indians were fabulous fighters, but they certainly couldn't compete with a repeating rifle. Very interesting read, very well written, but not so sympathetic towards the Indians as some other books I've read. It's more sympathetic towards perhaps the Western civilization. Anyway, a great book and a good read. One final book is this one, The Hut 6 Story by Gordon Welshman. It's a very interesting book, very exciting. Not so much about Alan Turing, which a lot of these Enigma books and stories seem to focus on. This focuses on Hut 6. I think that there are different huts at Bletchley Park, the code breaking school, and they all focus on different aspects of Enigma. Enigma was the German codes that they spoke to each other with, and one of the great advances in warfare that the Germans created in World War II was Blitzkrieg, and it was a kind of attacking with Stuka dive bombers, following up with motorized infantry, but they needed good communications, battlefield communications, and that is where Enigma came in. And it was a very difficult code to break because it was based on a machine which had different rotors and different connectors, and each time they transmitted a message using an Enigma code, the operator would specify which rotors were used and which connections. Now, the good thing for the code breakers at Bletchley Park was that the first part of the message, which specified which rotors were used, was unencrypted, and the next phase was an encrypted sequence that was sent twice. And the guys at Bletchley Park were able to jump on this, and by I can't know what process, figure out the codes and figure out the rotors that were used in the different messages. It's all very fascinating. To be honest with you, this is probably the book, I've read a few books on Enigma, and this is the book that explains it the most, or the easiest, even though it's still quite complicated. Anyway, an interesting read, a great World War II mystery explained and talked about, and obviously a great contribution by these guys at Bletchley Park, breaking the codes and helping to the final victory in World War II. Anyway, that's my book bag for summer 2020. Hope you enjoyed it. If you want to find out more, go to stevehigginslive.com.